Hey everyone, welcome to 5-Point Politics. Today I'm going to be covering an example of each of the 5 political types and what they hold in high esteem and why. Today I'll be talking about each of the 5-Point Politics political parties' creeds. A creed is defined as a set of fundamental beliefs. For this I'll be covering an example of what I think each political party's creed would sound like. To be fair, some local versions of Republicans and Democrats have creeds, but there is no national creed for any of these groups that I could find. I'll be referring to this information plenty of other times, so don't feel like you have to take notes just yet. To be fair, these are examples that I made up based on what I could find from these 5 different types. For this video, I'll be showing you an example of what these ideologies might be pitching to you if they were trying to persuade you to join their ranks by explaining their creed. First up, Republicans. We believe that all individuals and legal extensions of them, such as businesses, are entitled to equal rights, justice, and opportunities by the government. We believe that people should assume their natural responsibilities as citizens in a free society through voting. As for the economy, it is clear that a free enterprise system is the most productive supplier of human needs and economic justice. Though government programs may mean well, inefficiency and a lack of oversight are ingredients for bloat and mismanagement. Now, the Democrats. All individuals and legal extensions of them are entitled to equal rights, justice, and opportunities. People should assume their natural responsibilities as citizens in a free society through voting. A mostly free enterprise system, while not without its occasional faults, is the most productive supplier of human needs and economic justice, but social programs are also needed and government intervention should not be shunned. Now you might notice that it sounds remarkably similar to the Republicans. The truth of the matter is that they are quite similar ideologically. Take a look at this image made by the lovely people at Second Thought. See how close all of your faves actually are. Or even better, take a gander at this graph from politicalcompass.org and compare the Democratic 2020 presidential politicians with the 2 Republicans on it. We can almost shrink the US mainstream politicians to basically the top right quadrant, especially if we discard the 3 outliers, Gabbard, Williamson, and Sanders, the latter 2 who aren't even really ideologically Democrats, I'd say. That's not to say that there are 0 differences, but at a core level, there are a lot of similarities and overlap, and that's what I wanted to point out here. We'll get into the differences later, but at their core creed, they have a lot of overlap. Now let's look at socialists. We believe that all individuals are entitled to equal rights, justice, and equity, or a normalization of outcomes. A government has an obligation to ensure that its citizens are treated fairly through economic and social interventions. The highest income earners should not be living in a fantasy land while the working poor suffer. We believe in a representative and participatory democracy, especially within the workplace. Measures for income redistribution, welfare provisions, and most importantly, planning and regulation of the economy in the general interest to make sure that all basic needs are met. Now, the Libertarians. We believe that as long as your actions do not infringe on the liberties of another person to do as they will, the government should leave you alone. People have a right to speak freely and spend money in any way that they choose without interference from others. This specifically means that if someone wants to speak through money, this should be allowed. Voting will always be a part of a system to make some decisions, but the easiest way to solve issues is through the universal democracy of the dollar. Communists are probably the most different ideology on this list. Social issues tend to take a back seat compared to economic issues, though the countries or leaders can lean socially left or socially right. Examples of socially right communists are Joseph Stalin or Fidel Castro. Left communists would be more along the lines of a Leon Trotsky or Vladimir Lenin. And it's the latter two's work, which is what I'm going to be covering. They believe in the abolishment of capitalism and a continuous seizing of power by the working people. Now, back to the creed. We believe capitalism is an unnecessary stepping stone on the path to progress, which yields wage slavery, bullshit jobs, purposeful obsolescence, hunger, houselessness, and curable illnesses as hard-coded purposeful elements, not minor, unintended, and fixable defects. Our current system turns us against each other, and without the existence of money and unmet needs, people would work together altruistically for the betterment of all. This desire and outcome will become crystal clear after the fall of capitalism. We believe in democracy, in the workplace, and in elections. The government must also ensure people can live their lives without fear and have all of their needs covered to help other nations transition to post-capitalism. One can never be truly free until they can live without fear of losing their ability to live reasonably in a post-capitalist world. And those were the 5 basic types and an example of what their creeds might look like. I hope that you were able to take something away from this. I'm hoping to do more of these in the future on the basics of each issue, and then I'll be able to start doing these policy discussions on the different issues. Thank you to everyone who watched this. I appreciate the support. Have a great day.